Okay, let's get back to our panel right now. James Sung, let me go to you in Las Vegas. You know, we looked at those figures there at the introduction, and it said that 1 in 3 Chinese companies are at CES. What's the big focus in China? What kind of technology are they bringing to CES?
Well, first of all, what's great is that they're being acknowledged for their technology now. China, for a long time, has been known as copycats. 16 years ago, at my first CES, they sort of just kept all the Chinese companies at the Westgate. It was sort of like the flea market of CES. It used to be the old Hilton. And now you're seeing all the Chinese companies are taking center stage. There's a lot of new products, especially, what's hot this year is blockchain. There's a company called Acute Angle, and everyone has their ICO, everyone has their token now, but this company has managed to make their own token miner. So they've managed to fuse hardware and software to make something real out of the virtual blockchain.
James Barrat, we've talked about some of the dangers of technology. Let's talk about the big buzz term, rather, artificial intelligence. It's apparently going to make life a lot easier for a lot of us, but there are also the dangers that you have pointed out. And perhaps the starkest warning has come from Elon Musk, who's the head of Tesla. And he said that AI potentially is the biggest threat we face as a civilization.
I have to agree with him. I wrote a book called Our Final Invention about this problem. There are short-term and long-term problems. Some of the short-term problems are we've got a lot of nations trying to develop autonomous battlefield robots and drones. These are robots and drones that kill people without a human in the loop. And these things are happening right now.
How different would that be from a drone that's flying over, say, Yemen?
Not very different at all, except that what they do is they feed it a bunch of data about the target. They show pictures, license plates, addresses, and then the drone corroborates, it finds the person, corroborates it with another drone, and they take this person out. No person ever touches the control switch. These things are in the lab. These things are being developed now. This isn't, it's not hyperbole. Battlefield robots are being developed right now. And we have to really make a decision. Are we a civilization that wants to make machines that kill people autonomously? So, in the long term, the problem is, these are some of the short-term problems. Privacy. Long term, we have to wonder whether machines that are as smart or smarter than humans can be controlled at all. So in the short term, it's who controls the machines. In the long term is, can they be controlled? So I think Elon Musk is spot on with that.
Because there is one view which says that actually these robots are pretty stupid without human beings.
Well, right now they are, but their intelligence is developing exponentially. Ours is on a flat line. We're not getting smarter. They're getting smarter. And the guesses about when humans will pass the Turing test or where their intelligence will equal ours, they vary. But few computer scientists doubt that day will come. And then we have to wonder, how do we share the planet with something that's as smart as us and then smarter and then 1,000 times smarter? So that's a problem that's down the road. We've got a bunch of privacy and data bias issues to deal with right now regarding AI.
Alex, what have you seen at CES this year in terms of AI development?
I think NVIDIA made a big announcement about their AI and their autonomous cars, and Intel was really, really pushing it. Brian Krzanich, the CEO of Intel, got up on stage and talked about how AI was a major, major push for them. But for the most part, it was very ground level, that Amazon versus Google AI problem. We're seeing their AIs in more and more devices this year, really thousands of devices, from refrigerators to the smart displays that Google announced. And they're pretty interesting. They're pretty cool stuff out there, if terrifying.
Right. Amy, you are a global futures or a global security futurist. What's your view? Do you see dangers from AI?
Well, yes, but if you ask me what is the largest problem, I would say it's us. The question, so if you asked me, at what point does artificial intelligence, does an AI become as intelligent as us, I would ask back, well, in what dimension? So there are things that computers are very, very good at doing, and then there are ways in which humans behave, which has to do with judgment, morality, ethics, that can be taught, that can be programmed into cars, for example, decision-making rules. But I think in the larger sphere, we have not yet come to the edge of our capacity to either cause our own problems or solve them.
But we can't instill fear in a robot, could we?
You could, sure. I mean, it wouldn't be fear in the way that we experience it. I'm not sure you'd want adrenaline running through a computer. But yes, you could produce a decision rule that said, you know, if you have 5 people running at you down the street, this is your experience of fear. Go the other way.
James Sung, we've seen some very novel applications of AI. There's a company, a Chinese company actually, NVIDIA, which Alex was talking about, run by a Chinese entrepreneur called Jensen Huang, known as Jensen. And this technology is used now, or is being built at the moment, so that it will handle legal matters. It could handle divorces, it could handle contracts, it could handle immigration issues. What do we know about how these things work? And are they better than human beings?
Yeah, well, you know, last year was basically all about VR. This year is more about AR and AI, and it's about the fusion of everything together. For example, something I saw on the show floor, Rockid, R-O-K-I-D, is an AR glasses that helps you with AI technology. So you speak to it, and it gives you feedback based on, you know, everything from where you are, what you're looking at. So obviously, these devices are designed to help assist us, and I think that we have a very bright future ahead of us with AI devices.
James, you know, when you talk about the dangers of these devices, let's look at some of the ethical questions, legal questions. If you take something like driverless cars, I mean, there's a whole, I guess.
Well, and that's the problem. We're, you know, we're rushing forward with driverless cars, but we haven't settled basic tort law. Like, if a car has an accident and kills somebody, who's to blame? Is it the programmer back at NVIDIA? Is it the chip maker? Is it the car manufacturer? So these are basic ethical questions we have to establish before we can flood the roads with driverless cars. And then, as a responsible society, we have to look at what's going to happen with the 5 million professional drivers in the United States. You know, they're truck drivers, delivery guys, cab drivers. What are they going to do for a living? How are they going to be retrained?
There's a whole trucking industry out there with probably more than 1 million people driving trucks.
That's right. Yes, what exactly are they going to be retrained to do when their jobs are taken away? And this isn't just about about blue-collar workers, drivers, and factory workers. This goes deep into the middle class. So we'll be, as you said, there'll be lawyers who are facing competition. There'll be doctors who are facing competition. There are 7 million back office accountants in this country whose jobs are being taken away. So, as a responsible culture, we can't just keep racing forward into this future without accounting for these ethical and moral questions as we go. Okay.
Let me go finally to Alex in Las Vegas. And Alex, I want to sort of conclude this on a less scary note. What about the application of new technology in things like healthcare?
Yeah, you know, we actually saw a lot of really cool healthcare products this year. And we're seeing a lot, people are being very, very smart, especially in particular focusing on the elderly and how we can better help the elderly. I know I saw a pair of airbags that could automatically detect when a person was falling and deploy so they could protect their hips. A pair of shoes that would know when you were falling, and it would send an alert to your phone and to your essentially life alert. And that's some really cool, exciting stuff that's actually going to make lives better, which we kind of forget when we're talking about AI and everything and how it's going to destroy the world. But there's some cool stuff happening too.
Okay, great. Thanks to all of you for being with us. We're going to have to end it there. That's it for this edition of The Heat.